Hi there, I'm Justin Pritchard here with a machine that needs no introduction. This is the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and if you live in Northern Ontario, well, you know these things are everywhere. So in this video, I want to explore why and also take a look at why the year 2020 might be the best year yet to get into one of these. So let's start right off the bat with one of this machine's best assets, the way it moves. I like showing you utility vehicles in action on uneven surfaces because I think that by letting you watch how the vehicle moves over its wheels and how all of that interfaces with the surface beneath, you're getting a good visualization of how that machine rides and maybe even how it feels if you're out exploring the world around you on a trail like this. After all, this is a Jeep, and that's what Jeeps are for. And for Grand Cherokee in a rough road setting, with moguls in this case, the suspension is getting quite the workout. Still, on board, I'm doing just fine. The suspension in this machine is one of its best assets, and that's because it keeps the occupants consistently comfortable over a wide range of surfaces. And even if it's moguls beneath, throwing the body around on its wheels like a rag doll, it's a lot less dramatic on board than you think. In fact, I had to watch this footage to confirm that I'd sent the rear axle of the Grand Cherokee slightly airborne because from the driver's seat, I couldn't tell it was that smooth. The suspension stays quiet under fire on this surface, and it feels soft and plush around the edges but firms up towards the middle, meaning the ride has plenty of give but also a good secure feeling of control. It's soft on its feet and never sounds like it's going to cough up a strut, even in severe use. So that carefully controlled give to the suspension, combined with the chunky truck tires fitted to my North Edition tester, are a recipe for smooth and easygoing driving, even over the sort of rough terrain where many a crossover can feel and sound a lot less durable beneath you. This one's trail rated, after all. It's gotta be able to go places, and en route to the vast majority of those places, you'll find Grand Cherokee uses ride quality and its upscale cabin to create a lovely driving environment for the trip. And on a day like today, in a setting like this, driving this machine, it's going to be a photography trip, I think. So driving over the sort of rail beds that we're showing you here today, these are sort of a network of forest highways that connect different parts of Northern Ontario. A lot of them are covered with moguls, and if you'll be covering a lot of that sort of terrain, let me put some footage up here to show you one of the machines that does it the best. This is the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, and more recently I showed you this Chevy Colorado ZR2, and if you watch the body in relation to the wheels, you'll see both of these machines with their advanced suspension systems do a much better job of controlling the motions of the vehicles over the bumps. Now the Grand Cherokee covers the same terrain very comfortably, although you have to be going a whole lot slower to keep things from getting smashy. You've got two seating rows, generous room for cargo, canine-friendly jump-in height for a larger model family dog like mine, and up front the dash is nicely trimmed, and on screens, instrumentation, and nearby storage and power outlets, you're nicely covered off. This is one of the best touchscreen interfaces in the business, and one of the best instrument clusters in the business too, because you can fully customize it to show you anything your machine is up to. And that's important because Grand Cherokee gives you plenty to get up to. Terrain Selector Dial. Use this to preemptively engage special settings for tackling specific off-road challenges. It's a bit of confidence to go tackle that new trail, check out that new location, or maybe find a good spot to stop, where it's quiet, and the only sound you hear is the birds chirping and the clicking of your shutter. You get low-range gearing for crawling and creeping. Almost none of the competition offers that. Ditto these factory-equipped Wrangler tires, which can take a licking and have more bite in off-road terrain, unlike the more pavement-focused tires you'll typically find on machines like this. So Grand Cherokee North Edition has proper footwear for the job, exploring abandoned rail beds in this case with little worry of slashing a tire on the jagged gravel passing beneath. So what I'm driving is something that works very nicely on the road, but also gives me that extra confidence boost when I want to go do some exploring miles away from anything, including a cellular signal. So, comfy, confident, ready to explore, nicely trimmed, properly connected, and in all, the machine I think you'll find sets you up very nicely for both the daily grind and weekend drives to check out new trails and explore more of your surroundings. And I think that is the recipe that makes these so popular up my way. I've been really into exploring these abandoned rail beds lately. They're like a secret network of forest highways that cut through parts of northern Ontario, and you can drive down some of them for a very long time without seeing anything other than the beautiful scenery and maybe some apprehensive creatures. And as someone who A, uses exploring and photography as a means to relax, and B, as someone who is a world expert in worrying about everything, this combination of a comfortable off-road ride and some extra toughness from the tires mean that I'm, well, very well supported as I travel from spot to spot down my mogul-covered path to the middle of nowhere with a few cameras in hand.
Now, as you see it here in the fall of 2020, the Grand Cherokee has been on sale now for a decade. There have been updates and tweaks over the years, but much of the skin and what's beneath that skin have now been in production since 2010. And that means that in some ways, this is a brand new 10-year-old vehicle. And it turns out there's some data that says that that can be a very good thing for reliability.
Case in point, a recent expert study by J.D. Power and Associates found that owners of crossover SUVs that had been in production the longest rated their vehicles more reliable than newer, less proven models almost 100% of the time. Translation, running a machine that's been in production for many years looks like a good thing from a reliability standpoint. And with more than 10 million copies of this Pentastar V6 engine built for use in 22 different vehicles, including this tester, it doesn't get much more proven in the powertrain department as far as utility vehicles go, though Honda HR-V and Toyota 4Runner both run old-school power plants too, with some shoppers even calling that a key purchase factor. So on that note, I'd say this 4Runner is a great cross-shopping exercise if you're considering a Grand Cherokee. Each machine has a unique set of strengths and weaknesses that will help you decide which one is the right one for you. And this pair represents two machines that I'd most likely be looking at spending my own money on if I was in the market for something in this universe. And if you're in the market for something in this universe, Grand Cherokee is very worth a look, especially the 2020 and 2021 model year units like this one, which benefit from more widespread deployment of featured content across the various trim grades. You'll find more of the good stuff at lower price points in many cases. So, end of the day, here's a machine that does pretty much everything right when it comes to delivering comfort and peace of mind when you'll use your machine to get out and explore new places with your people and creatures and maybe your cameras too. And maybe that is why it's so popular.